Lovely. All right, so we're lying on our backs in Shavasana. A little gap between the ankles, arms a little away from the body, palms facing upwards. Let's take time to nod the chin into the chest, just to lengthen the back of the neck. And with the eyes closed, just taking a few breaths and a few moments to feel heaviness through the body. So allow that softening, the quietening down of the front ribs. Releasing any clenching in the glutes, the thighs. Checking in with the jaw, if there's any unnecessary tension there. And then making time for any of those minute movements that could make you even 1% more comfortable. So whether it's rolling on the back of the head, taking the head side to side and then stopping where you feel balanced. Or lengthening into the fingertips, stretching the arms and then letting them flop down. Making sure the shoulder blades are quite close to the spine so that the tops of the shoulders can relax. So bring all the attention into the room, into the body, just trying to quieten down the mind and block out any other preoccupations. When you're ready, place the left hand on your belly, the right hand on your ribs. And initially we'll take the breath into the belly. So when you breathe in, feel the belly balloon out. Hold it, breathe into the belly, hold. And then soften, exhale, fully release the breath. 2-part breath. Breathe into the belly, pause. Breathe into the ribs, feel the movement under the right fingers, hold. Feel that tension, breathe in, hold. And then soften all the way, let the air out. 3-part breath. Breathe into the belly, diaphragm pushes down, belly balloons. Breathe up, 3D expansion of the ribs. Breathe in, hold. Now breathe in right to the crown of your head, puffing out the chest, shoulders back and down. Breathe in, crown of the head, and then release the air down. On the next in-breath, take your arms overhead. Let's spread the fingers, spread the toes. And then taking hold of the left wrist, pull on the left wrist and extend through the left heel. So getting the full stretch down the left side of the body. Pause, hold and lengthen. And then switch sides, holding the right wrist, taking the stretch into the right side of the body. Right toes can be up to the ceiling, so you're pressing through the heel of the foot, active through the leg. And then coming center, half Apanasana, lower the arms, take the right knee in towards the chest, re-tuck the chin into the chest, shoulders down, and now that left leg, let's hover it just an inch from the floor. Left toes up to the ceiling, drive through that left heel, really straight active leg as we draw the right knee in. Shoulders down, avoid any rounding of the shoulders and feel the distance between the knees getting bigger. One more breath here, stretching in 2 directions. And then gently release. Arms overhead, full body stretch, just for one breath. Arching the spine here, and then breath out, left knee into the chest. Same thing, you can hold the top of the knee or behind the knee. Let's activate that right leg and press the heel of the right leg, the right foot through to the wall at your feet. Roll the shoulders back and down, chin's tucked, and feel the distance between the knees increase. Lengthen through the right leg. Full body stretch, release. Deep breath in, point the toes away from you. And then have both knees into the chest. A little rock on the spine. And then we're taking our yoga grip, peace fingers around the big toes, elbows on the insides of the knees. And then extend one leg up to the ceiling. Pause. A little bend in the knees, fine. And then switch to the other leg. Hamstring stretch. Try to get the sit bones towards the floor. So we're avoiding rounding and lifting the hips. Breathing deeply, no force in the stretch. Rebend the knee, and now let's try to extend both legs towards the ceiling. You can curl the head, neck, shoulders up. So we're pressing the feet into the fingers. And the fingers pulling on the big toes. And then we'll take the legs out wide, gentle inner thigh stretch with a gentle rock side to side, maybe tapping the floor on either side. Wonderful. So coming center, we'll hold behind the knees, curling up like a ball, and we're going to rock up to sitting. So rolling on the spine till you come up to sitting, and then let's meet. Legs out in front of you. Let's start with your left leg bent, foot into the groin, I'll mirror you. So regular Janushirasana, but we'll take a flowing movement here. So driving the hands either side of the leg, bowing the head, reaching for something beyond the toes, lifting up, cactus arms, fingertips to the floor, and puff the chest out. Again, rounding, lengthening, reaching forwards, big stretch up, puff out the chest, cactus arms, shoulder blades together, fingers to the floor, elbows reaching towards each other, chest to the ceiling. Twice more. No forcing. Maybe the nose will brush the knee, but it's the intention of lengthening. Easing out the neck as you go. And last time, and here we're flexing the spine, lengthening the back of the leg, using the whole body, postural muscles. So before we go on to the side, the other leg, we're taking a side bend. So now turn your chest to face that left wall. Right fingers along the outstretched leg, and now reach up and overhead with that left arm. Now start to feel that side bend right from the hip. Feel the distance between the ribs and the hip bone increase. Space between the ribs. Stretch into the armpit, and then take that stretch right into the fingertips overhead. We're trying to turn the chest to the side wall. Try to avoid any tension in the neck. We are strengthening those neck muscles, but if there's tension, you can let the head dangle or look down towards your knee. Slowly, hands to the floor, roll up through the spine. Last on this side, spinal twist. Turn your chest to face the right wall. Back of the hand on the outside of the knee. We're turning, deep breath in here, and then we're reaching down towards the little toe, getting this twist for the spine. Each in-breath, feel length in the spine. Each out-breath, those fingertips reaching a little bit further. Try to picture the whole spine. So we're rotating from the base of the spine, mid-spine, upper spine, and if you can, you look up at the ceiling over that right shoulder. Last breath here. And then slowly release. Same sequence the other side. Shrug out the shoulders. So extending the left leg, sitting up tall. And let's sweep the arms forward, bowing the head, reach, lift, and cactus arms, shoulders back and down, fingertips to the floor, puff the chest out, heart to the ceiling, ease out the neck. Again, we'll go for 4. Each time as though there's something just out of reach beyond the foot. Elbows in. Don't worry if you're not entirely in sync with me, just roughly 4. So a nice controlled, slow breath in and out of the nose. This extension of the spine as we lean back. So we'll make this next one our last one. And then we're taking the side bend. So the side bend, we'll take the hand on the inside of the leg, we turn the chest over to the right. Now start to feel it from the sit bones, up the side of the body, into the armpit and reaching overhead. Lengthen the neck, very easy to collapse here. And each in-breath, feel that length up through the spine. And make this an open side bend, so rather than collapsing down, lengthening right into those fingertips overhead. Deep breath in and out of the nose. Feeling that gap between each of the ribs. And then last of all, we'll take that twist. So we're turn the belly, turning the chest to the left wall, hand on the outside of the leg, breathe in tall and breathe out, melting. So we're reaching beyond the little toe and feeling that twist from the base of the spine up into the cervical spine, the neck. So we may be able to open the chest to the left wall, maybe even look over the shoulder and breathe. So rather than strain the back of the leg, keep the leg active. The heel of the foot compress into the floor. We can squeeze the glutes, support the twist for the spine and the stretch for the back of the leg. On the next out breath, slowly come out. Let's take the legs out in front, have a little shake of the legs. We'll take one more in this seated position, legs out wide. Doesn't have to be to your fullest position. Let's interlace the fingers, sitting up really tall. And we'll take a big stirring action all the way around. So we end up bringing together all of those strengthening, mobilizing movements so far. Twisting, stretching, and controlled breath in and out of the nose. Give me one more in this direction, and then let's change direction. So we're taking a twist, the length, a nice flowing movement. So as soon as we get into that rhythmical flow of movement, we're calming down the nervous system. We're reducing that chatter in the mind, just focusing on your body. All right, we're going to take the legs, one more shake out, and we'll take a mermaid twist. So let's take your left shin, place it so it's parallel to the front edge of your mat, and then we'll take the back leg into that mermaid position. Feel free to take a full pigeon. Let's just find a flexion in that top foot, and then we're lowering ourselves down. So rather than collapsing all the way down, let's work from the hips, long spine, and starting to bow down over the front leg. Breathing deeply into anywhere that feels a little bit tight, and just making any adjustments that you need to feel a little bit more comfortable. We're here for 3 breaths. Try to still think about the in-breath as lengthening through the spine, and the exhalation of just finding some softening, some release, some letting go. If you can, use your Ujjayi breath here, that ocean breath. Means we can intensify the breath and more easily take control of whatever sensations we're feeling in the hip. Head last to come up, roll up through the spine and take it across to the other side. So starting with the shin parallel to the front edge, or the back edge, now flex the foot. And turning the chest so that we're ready to fold over the thigh and the shin. So feeling your way into it. Now any niggles in your knee, soften the position of your ankle, maybe draw the heel in a little bit. So just find somewhere where we can get some nice work into the hip. We can start to lower that hip so that we're working towards the hips coming a little bit more square to the floor. And again, we've just got 3 breaths where we're just breathing into the hip, finding length in the spine, but softening in the hip. Trying to raise the intensity of your breath to match the intensity of any feelings you're feeling in the hip. Great. Last breath here. As usual, head last to come up, rolling up through the spine. Great. We're coming on to all fours, shoulders over the wrists, Separate the knees and ankles hip distance apart, and let's go straight into cat-cow. So we'll breathe in and look up, and the breath out, chin to chest, round the back. Separate the shoulder blades. This is the first proper stretch between the shoulder blades. Point the toes away. One more round, breathing in to curl up, and the breath out, rounding, lifting the navel back to the spine, pressing away from the floor. Stepping the right foot forwards into a knee lunge. Walk the foot out to the right edge of the mat and take a big circle. So we're working on the outside, the outline of the foot, so no forcing movement into the knee, ankle, hip. And take those circles in the other direction. Supporting the knee by holding. And then let's switch legs. When you're ready, the left foot steps forwards to the outer edge, just to give you a bit of scope for movement. Holding the knee, go slowly, small movements first. And we're taking it all the way around, so the knee's drawing a circle on the floor. And let's take those circles in the other direction. Feel the outline of the foot. Great. Last thing before we come to the sun salutations, if you come down to your belly, glide your arms forward, point the toes and zip the legs together, squeeze the big toes together, the knees together, inner thighs engaged, hands on the floor, shoulders down away from the ears, and we press away from the floor. And we lift and lengthen. Keep your gaze down between the forearms, no crease at the back of the neck. Now try pushing away from the floor and squeezing the glutes, pointing the toes, and then press into the floor and as if draw the heels of the hands towards you, your chest forwards. So no, perceptibly, there's no real movement here. I'm just pressing away and then drawing in. So just getting some movement, some warmth into the shoulders, the upper back, pressing away and pulling in so the chest comes forwards, long neck throughout. Strong arms. And then you can take a child pose as I adjust the camera ready for sun salutations. So hands under the shoulders, sitting back on the heels, and you can have a little rock there. We'll circle out the wrists. We're going to take 3 rounds of sun salutations. The first one, we're going to take time to take a few breaths in each position. So we're really strengthening. Second, we'll take a flow, and the third, we'll use the series 2 Surya Namaskara. So when you're ready, slowly come up to standing. We'll start with the feet hip distance apart, toes pointing forwards, lengthening through the tailbone, hands by the side of the body. So take a moment and feel where we have length in the tailbone. Try to draw the front ribs together without rounding shoulders, so shoulders back. And last of all, try to feel where the ears are over the shoulders, not too far forward. And from this position, breathe in and open the arms, stretch overhead. Now pause to be the tallest you can be. You can link the thumbs, you can look up, and now press, remember the outline of the foot with that hip mobilization. Press the feet into the floor and lengthen your fingertips to the ceiling. Lengthen through the body. One more breath here, stretching, becoming really slender, long, active through the legs. Now press the arms down, find a flat back, swan dive down to find the ankles, bow the head. Again, we'll pause for a few moments. Let's feel the outline of the feet. Can you feel the big toes pressing down, second toes, middle toes, fourth and little toes, and the heels. Feel where the arch is, the gap. And now feel length of the backs of the legs, sit bones riding up the wall behind you. Heavy head. And halfway lift. Find that 90-degree angle between the legs and the spine. And then we're stepping the right foot back. Find the floor, step your right foot back and pause in this runner lunge. Now, we've done this for so many different exercises and so many different classes. Well, we can make this a really active, strong yogic position where the feet are pressing down and you feel how that engages the leg muscles. We can claw into 10 fingertips and the heels of the hands and the underside knuckles. We can draw the shoulders down and almost try and look beyond the big toe, lengthening the neck. Now feel the pressure down the feet, press down and the feet away from each other. So we're using the front muscles of your left leg and the strong right through the whole of the extended leg. Now press the feet down and as if draw them together as though you're trying to squeeze something between the inner thighs. So we're just making the whole body work. Front ribs knitted together, navel to spine, and we're just going to step back to a plank. So the knees can come down, but let's try and keep it high and long through the back of the heels to the crown of the head. Shoulders down, shoulder blades spreading slightly so we can draw the front ribs together. Feel that length in the back of the thighs, squeezing the glutes, slight tilt in the tailbone. Now to come down to the mat, knees can come first, otherwise onto the toes, elbows brushing the waist as you make your way down to your belly. Here, roll the shoulders back. We can take a baby cobra, or if you feel ready, we can extend the arms. Now either roll over the toes or we can tuck the toes under and take a down dog. So our first possibly of the day. So be kind to your spine and your legs. Let's start by bending the knees and lengthening through the spine by rolling, swaying the hips side to side. Try to feel that length from the heels of the hands to the base of the spine. Feel that gap between the ribs and the hips. And now, front ribs together, navel to spine. Can you identify your pelvic floor? Lift, and we'll start to pedal through the feet without spoiling that long line of the spine. Front ribs together, navel to spine, pelvic floor. Yoga right through the toes. Okay, we'll lift the heels high, bend the knees. Is the right foot coming to the front of your mat? Pausing. We're now run a lunge. And then bend both knees, step to the front and come back to your forward fold. But this time we're wrapping the forearms around the backs of the knees, nose on the knees. Feel the chest and thighs squeezing together and then start to try to straighten the knees so the top of the head folds to the floor. Release the arms, reverse swan dive, take a big stretch in, overhead, come back to that length into the fingertips, pause, and then breathe out, thumbs to heart center, chest open, shoulders down. Take a moment. Left side, breathe in, open the arms wide, reach for the ceiling, press down through the feet and lift up through the fingertips. Lengthen. Sometimes take a little bit of a pendulum sway side to side and just free up and give us an extra millimeter of length. Preparing for that swan dive, wide, occupy space, reach into the fingertips as you come into your forward fold. Hold the back of the leg wherever the hands meet the legs, and we're pausing our forward fold. We can shake out the head here. You can have a swing around your ankles, around the feet. Ready for halfway lift. Either fingertips to the floor and lengthen through to the crown of the head or fingers on the shins. And we'll step the left foot back. So let's go through all of those checkpoints for the strongest possible runner lunge. So we start by pressing the 10 fingertips into the floor. Find the underside knuckles, the heels of the hands, shoulders down, and the chin slightly tucked in towards the neck, so there's no crease at the back of the neck. Start to think about this front shin of the right leg as if pushing forwards while the back heel presses away. So as if you're ripping the mat in two. And then the reverse, engage the legs, drawing the inner thighs towards each other. So this brings us to a more squared position of the hips. Lengthen through the spine into the neck. Lengthen through the back thigh. And step back to a plank. So shoulders back and down. Again, as we were standing, finding that length. If the front ribs flare, we lose some length. Draw the ribs together, heels to the back wall, top of the head to the front wall. Check you're not rolling out to the little fingers. The lower arms round in towards the index fingers, the upper arms opening so the chest is open wide. Ribs together. Now your flow to come down to the mat, but the eyes of the elbows are pointing forwards. So the elbows can brush the waist, and it's either up dog, cobra, or a sphinx here. Ease out the neck. Squeeze the glutes and point the toes. You can be active into the legs and maybe even the knees lift. Use your lift in the hips to reduce that curve in the spine. If it's too much of a back bend, no straining. Let's take a down dog. So lifting the heels, the hips high. We'll lengthen through the spine and then allow the heels to melt towards the floor. Ears can be in line with the arms. Sit bones riding up the wall behind you. Breathe deeply in and out of the nose. To step forward, lift the heels high, that lovely bend in the toes. Bend the knees to crouch low. And then let's step the left foot to the front. We're not pausing here. We're only stopping to feel the shape and then step to the front of your mat. Hug the legs, chest and thigh come together. Lift the sit bones up the wall behind you. Take a reverse swan dive with the arms, stretching energy into the fingertips. Breathe into the hands meet. Lengthen. Last time, reaching for the ceiling, pressing the feet down, and then return to heart center. The next round is a flow, so we'll just keep going. Breathe in to open. Breathe out and fold. Hold the backs of the legs down there. Breathe in for a halfway lift. Breathe out, right foot steps back. Breathe into a plank. Breathe out down to your belly. Breathe into a spine extension. Breathe out to down dog. Breathe in, right foot forwards. Breathe out, left foot forwards. Breathe in, open and stand. Breathe out and return, left side. Breathe in and open, lengthen. Breathe out to fold. Empty the lungs. Breathe in, halfway lift. Breathe out, left foot lunges back. Breathe in, plank. Breathe out, lower to your belly. Breathe in to curl up. Breathe out, down dog. Breathe in, left forwards. Breathe out, right to the front. Breathe in, stand tall. Stretch overhead. And breathe out to return. Brilliant. Last round. Breathe in and reach overhead. Breathe out and fold, but we're coming all the way into our chair, knees bending over the toes, but still can see the toes. We're into the heels of the feet. Pause. We're going to be stepping the right foot back. So we use the right elbow to hook on the outside of the left knee and take a prayer twist here. Try and square up the knees and open the chest. Long neck. Now we want the weight into the left foot. So see if you can come up onto the right tippy toes. Find something fixed to look at and take your right leg back. We're into a prayer twist. The back knee can come down to the floor or stay lifted. And we're pausing here for a moment. So that's the idea of the outline of the foot, that left foot that's on the floor below our nose. Can we feel the whole outline of the foot pressing down? Breathing deeply, feeling the length and twist right up into the neck. Well done. Hands down to the floor, step back to a plank, and just long enough to feel the shape. Come forwards and lower down, and you'll flow through to up dog. Warning, on the way back, warrior one, warrior two, peaceful warrior, extended side ankle. Tuck your toes, lift through the hips, and pause in a down dog. Right leg will step forward, so lift the heels, bend the knees, look forwards, right foot to the front. Left heel is maybe at 45-degree angle. Find your balance and lift up. Hips are square to the front. Front knee over the ankle. Feel free to change the angle of the back heel so that we have the hips square and we're lengthening into the fingertips. Now I'll move first. We'll come off to the ball of the foot and open so your left toes are now pointing forwards. Come to warrior two. Knee open wide, shoulders down. Peaceful warrior. We lift the front hand, hold the back of the head, elbow to the ceiling, lower body stays where it is, and we lean back. Breathe deeply, get this lovely stretch to the side and front of the body. Extended side angle. Forearm to the inner knee and reach up and over. Shoulders down, palm facing down towards the floor. Lengthen to the fingertips and feel that connection right down the hip to the foot. Avoiding collapsing too much weight. This is just a means of getting a deeper inner thigh stretch. All right. Fingers to the floor, lift that back heel, and we step to the front. Chair pose, feet hip distance apart. Make sure you can still see your toes, so all the weight's into the heels, and come back to your Utkatasana. Length from the tailbone into the fingertips. Fleshy peach under your chin. So no sticking the chin out. We're just looking at the floor, maybe 2-3 feet in front of our knees. And now the outline of the foot. Press down to root, to rise up, reach up. Hands meet and come to heart center. Last side. Breathe in, open the arms wide. Breathe out to fold. Sweep the arms forwards. Parallel arms into your chair. Toes still visible, weight into the heels. Front ribs closed. Navel to spine. Pelvic floor. Pull in, find those deepest core muscles. And come to the floor. Hands come into prayer, this time left elbow on the outside of the right knee. Take a prayer twist. And pause. So we'll need to find the weight transferring into the right foot to free up the left leg. So we can start by coming up onto the left tiptoes, gliding back, and then taking the twist. So. Brilliant. So we're pausing here for a moment. Lengthen the spine and rotate the spine. Some energy into that back heel. You're doing well. Hands to the floor, step back to a plank, pause to feel length, and then elbows brush the waist as we come down to the belly. It may be a sphinx, baby cobra, or an up dog. Just find some length, no strain, and then we'll meet in a down dog. Here we can pedal it through and allow the breathing to settle, thinking ahead. It's the other leg, whichever leg you didn't step forward with. For me, my left foot to the front, right heel at an angle. Find your balance and lift up. Square up the hips to the front and reach up either side of the ears or slightly in front of the head. Slight tuck in the tailbone, finding that vertical line up the body. Some connection between the shoulder blades, but some drawing together of the ribs. Navel to spine, pelvic floor. So for warrior one, Virabhadrasana 1, we have more of a 45-degree angle between the front foot and the back foot. Now we increase that to more like a 90-degree angle. So more of a hip opening as we come to warrior 2. Then glance back at your back arm to check it's level with your shoulder. And then there's that strength around the whole body by drawing the ribs together, but some connection between the shoulder blades. Again, some length through the tailbone with some engagement between the hip points here, the lower abdominals. Knee charging forwards over the toes. Peaceful warrior, your front hand, elbow bends, support the head, and we take a back bend, side bend, lengthening. We still charge the front knee forward, chest open wide. And then the extended side angle. We use the front elbow to get that hip opening, inner thigh stretch as we reach up overhead. Last one here. Hands to the floor, framing the front foot, lifting the back heel, and come to stand at the front. Chair, last time, sweep those parallel arms up, reaching into the fingertips, sitting back into the heels. Okay, last time, front ribs together, navel to spine. Now find that pelvic floor lift. Now rooting down through the feet to rise up, standing tall, stretch into the fingertips, hands meet and come to heart center. Take a moment, closing the eyes, releasing the hands by the side of the body, and just let the breathing settle. Take a moment. Right, got one more thing, standing up. So we'll take a tree, but with a challenge, an optional challenge for your balance. So let's straight away place the weight into the left foot and then find your tree. So whether it's the arch, holding the ankle, the calf muscle, or lifting right up into the groin. Just feel where's good for you on this side. Hip opening, knee out to the side wall and down towards the floor. Now finding that vertical line up the center of the body. Hands can be low, in prayer, or in a wide V. So find a moment of stillness, and I'll talk you through an optional challenge. So if this feels very easy, and particularly if you're on a hard floor, or you've not got a spongy mat, hands can come together, steeple top fingers, the index fingers reaching, and we can start to take a small circling movement. Start with the head, neck, and shoulders. And as we feel more security, more stability, maybe that feeling of a spiraling comes down into the waist. So finding a very small movement and very slow, very controlled. So those pointy index fingers drawing a circle on the ceiling. Try to keep the knee out wide. It may want to drift forwards. Try to hold the hands, even the heels of the hands together. So active right through the arms. Let's say those circles in the other direction. So much going on here. So we're loading on that ankle of the standing leg. Core muscles, all the stabilizers of the ankle, the knee, the hip, the core, everything is being challenged here. So go easy on yourself if you're not getting much movement. Release the hands, circle out the wrists, a couple of times in each direction. Have a shake out and see if light as a feather, you can release the foot and step down. So that poor standing leg, give it a little bit of a shake, release, and we have the other leg. So we'll all have a weaker side. I'm now on my weaker leg. So some patients here, find that stability, find the hip opening, either the ball of the foot on the floor, or taking a lift, or all the way. So we're going to find a moment of stillness in your chosen arm position, maybe even hands on the hips, where we feel some stability. Remember the ears over the shoulders. As soon as they start to come forwards, we've destabilized that lovely stacking. Ribs together, navel to spine. Lengthen. Feel the outline of your foot on the floor. Now, other thumb on top when we take these steeple top fingers. The pressure of the foot against the thigh against the foot, that will help with stability. So, bearing in mind, on the one hand, easier because sometimes when the brain knows what to expect, it's already started to recruit the stabilizing muscles needed to draw those circles on the ceiling. On the other hand, it may be a weaker leg. So maybe need a bit of patience. Be prepared to step out and give the leg a shake at any point if you need to. So if we keep going through those points of stability, if I turn to one side, the foot on the floor, really gripping strongly, the foot into the thigh into the foot, knee out wide, then the core strong, head back in line. So that when we do these circles, change direction if you haven't already. When we do these circles, we've essentially got a strong central core right up to the ribs, and then the spiraling action comes from there. We're on our last circle. And then light as a feather, release the hands and step the foot down. Well done. Have a shake out of that strong leg. Okay. You take a moment, we're going to come down to the mat again. I'll adjust the camera back down again so we can see. And if we come to a kneeling position on the mat. Great. So kneeling, hands on the hips. Place the hands so the fingertips are pointing down. Roll the shoulders back and down. Squeeze the glutes and take a chest opening back bend. So rather than leaning all the way, just feel like opening across the chest and length in the neck. Turning the head side to side. So we're supporting the lower back with the hands, and it's an upper back bend, chest opening. And then come up. We'll extend the right leg out to the side, toes forward. So take a side to side movement. So we're into a gate side bend, reaching overhead. And then the reverse, over to the other side. Fingertips or heel of the hand to the floor. Chest open wide, reaching overhead. With 2 more rounds of this. Opening wide, breathing out, easing into the side bend. Breathing in, stretching wide, breathing out to the other side. Last time. Deep breath in and melting out. Great. Coming to the other side, replace the knee, extend the left leg, toes pointing forwards, a little bit of an inner thigh stretch here, and lengthen. Into a gate, folding down sideways over the leg, feeling that lovely length in the side of the body. Breathing in to switch, breathing out to the other side, reaching into the fingertips. So keep the flow going side to side. And remember, when we keep a stretch into the fingertips, we're firing up the whole chain of muscles. If I just melt down to the side and then slowly extend, far fewer muscles engaged. There's far less energy being used. So reach into the fingertips, stretch open wide. So think about taking the movement from the end points. Okay, so last time, and then we'll take a seated twist. Long fingertips, and release. So I'm going to give you a choice. Either we come into the seated twist, or we can fully cross the knees over and come into a cow face pose. So just feel what's right for your knees. So the foot can be flat to the floor, knee to the ceiling. And this is great for a stretch for the hips. We can hug chest and thigh together. Otherwise, you're fully stacking the knees and sitting between the heels. So find your stretch and breathe into the hips. long spine. Try to feel the sit bones grounding down, whichever version you're in. Feel heaviness down through the sit bones, and then by rooting down, we can lift up through the spine. And now back to that idea, where are the ears in relation to the shoulders? So keeping the chin back, perfect stacked alignment. If you're in the cow face pose, we can take the chest towards the thighs. If you're in the seated twist with the foot flat to the floor, we can add on that twist and we can turn to look over the back shoulder. The focus is the hips. Let's try and feel some softening coming in. Use the power of that breath to picture with the mind's eye. We can feel all the muscles, all the muscle fibers falling into place, softening and lengthening. 2 more breaths in your version. Sit bones down, crown of the head to the ceiling. Rather than the top of the head, that can allow the chin to come out. Crown of the head to the ceiling. And at the end of that breath, we'll extend both legs out before we take it to the other side. A little shake out, good to come to back to symmetry. And then the other side. So it's either your foot on the outside of the knee and shuffle around till we've got the sit bones on the floor, chest to the thigh and lengthen, or by rolling onto the hands, rolling forwards, we can fully stack the knees and lower yourself back. So either one is brilliant, lovely for the hips. Either way, we pause first of all to feel that length up through the spine, relaxing the shoulders down. This is really tight on the hips. Use the hands and give a little bit of nurturing self-massage to the hips. Because we're coming towards the end of the session, we can start to find a steadier breath. Start to find places where we can reduce the muscular effort. It's all part of flexible, supple muscles that we can get them firing up, but equally we can coax them into that relaxed state. Lengthening, softening, relaxing. From your position, you either come forwards into a fold if you're in Gomukhtasana, or if we're in the seated twist, that modified Lord of the Fish, we can start to add on a little bit of twist. The focus is still on sit bones down, chest and the thigh together. Almost leaning into that hip. Chin tucked. And try to picture what's the longest line from the space between the sit bones, that lift up the pelvic floor, center of the ribs, right up into the crown of the head. And notice here if there's unhelpful clenching. So sometimes in the less active thigh, we're holding tension. Try to see if you can soften it down, coax a little bit of a release into the hip. And your next exhalation, again, taking the legs out in front of you, but the knees bent. And this time we're taking an internal rotation of the hip, side to side. If this doesn't really give you any stretch, come down onto the forearms. I get more of a lift in that hip, more of a twist to stretch the front of the hip. And we're rolling the hip in. Roll the other hip in. So side to side, but pausing long enough that you can get some lovely stretch in the front of the hip. Knees to the floor. Once more each side. And then on your mat still, knees bent, rolling the shoulders back and down. Let's hold the backs of the knees. Take a deep breath in as you breathe out, melting down through the spine, but we're not lying all the way down. So take your time, we're not going all the way. When you get to the point where that's tricky, we're pausing there. If you can, float the arms up. So like in Navasana, the boat, but we're finding our challenge point rather than easing through the easier phases of the movement. We're going straight to where it's difficult. Holding for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Now rebuild the spine and come up to sitting. Take a moment and off we go again. So we can lower down, think pearl necklace, one bead at a time. Just where it gets to be that challenge point, we can pause. Start to feel that bold shape in the core. Lengthen through to the top of the head, shoulders down, and ribs together, navel to spine, pelvic floor. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rebuild, sitting up tall. And this time we're hugging the knees and dropping the head. Have a little sway and take a breath. So find some length in the back of the neck by dropping chin to chest. And this time when we lift the head, we're rolling all the way back down. And we'll join ready for a bridge. So say only one roll down, so make it count, one vertebra at a time until we're there. Take a full body stretch. Here you can flare the ribs, you can arch the spine, point the toes, and then arms by the side of the body. Draw the feet in, knees bent to the ceiling, just so we can brush the backs of the heels. Shoulders back and down. And now, palms facing each other, upper arms pressed into the floor. So we're active through from the shoulders to the elbows. Imprint the lower spine, and we're peeling the lower spine off the mat, one vertebra at a time, feeling that strength in the arms. So strengthening for the triceps, but also adding on that layer of control as we keep rising up. Feel the hips rising up to the ceiling, the chest coming up to the chin, pressing the shoulders and the elbows into the floor, fingers up to the ceiling. Squeeze the glutes and try to keep the same distance between the knees. Now, allow the fingertips to fall on the hips. Keep them level. Weight into the left leg, and can we extend the right leg? Out in front so the thighs are parallel, and then all the way up to the ceiling. Hips are still level. Slowly lower the leg, straight leg all the way till the heel finds the floor, and then draw in, and we'll return to our lifted bridge. Okay, if you need to come down, take a break in between, that's fine. So press the shoulders, the elbows into the floor, squeeze the glutes, weight into the right foot. First of all, we're just hinging, lifting from the knee, thighs parallel, hips still level, and then continue all the way into lift up to the ceiling. Pause. So we have that lovely length in the back of the neck. Now the leg that's extended, we'll keep it extended, but lower it all the way to the floor, keeping that level in the hips. As soon as the heel finds the floor, we can bend the knee and draw back. Arms overhead. Take a lovely stretch, maybe lift the hips a little bit higher, and then as we roll down through the spine, the arms also can lower down one vertebra at a time. Once the hips come down and the hands lower, hold behind the knees and draw the knees into the chest and have a little rock on the spine. We have one more bridge into a glute stretch, and then we'll be returning to Shavasana. So settle down for your last set of bridges. Elbows, shoulders down, firm up, roll up through the spine. Lift the fingertips to the ceiling and feel the backs of the arms working. Let the fingers rest on the hips, keeping the hips level. Weight into the left foot, right heel to the left thigh, and take that figure four hip opening. We're pausing here. You can use your right fingertips to massage the hip flexors of that lifted leg, the thigh at the top. Get your thumb right in there, but we're aiming to keep the hips still level. Front ribs together, navel to spine. The sit bones, the tailbone pointing to the back of that left knee. One more breath, bit of work, get your knuckles into the hip. And then lower down, we roll down through the spine, ready for the last side. Rolling up with strong upper arms into your bridge lift. Time weight into the right foot, your other leg lifts, open. So we've got the foot flexed, the knee out to the side. So this is external rotation of this top knee. Hips are level, tailbone pointed to the back of the knee. Chin tucked into the chest. And again, we can use the left hand on the top of that left hip to massage and work some softening into the hip. Soften the muscles of the face. Drive through that right foot. Soften the jaw. Think a smile, knowing this is the last little bit. One more breath here. And then we'll slowly release. Take the arms overhead. Take a big stretch. And then angel wing the arms down by your sides. Stretch the legs. Have a little shake out of the legs. Re-bend the knees. Drop the knees over to the left with the arms out wide. So stretch in two directions, left and right. And then up and over to the other side. Let the knees drop to the other side, arms in that wide T. And then we come full circle, back to Shavasana, extend the legs. Maybe now a little bit bolder, we can have the legs wider apart, the arms a little further from the body. Chin tucked, close the eyes. So with the repetitive movements, we've been finding strength, the ability in the muscles to contract and become stronger. We've held some positions where the muscles then lengthen out. And now we give the muscles a chance to relax and soften, the key third element for soft, youthful, spongy muscles. So with the eyes closed, as we breathe in and out of the nose, we can start to think about lovely squidgy, squashy sponges, softening. Feel as though we're so light and spongy that the earth, the mat's rising up to meet us and we're being held. The ground is molding itself into the back of our bodies. And we're releasing every bit of weight we can into the floor. So starting with the top of the body, so the face, the tops of the arms, the chest, abdomen, tops of the legs, right to the tops of the feet and tiptoes. And then going a layer deeper, finding that softening and heaviness. The layers of soft tissue, relaxing, releasing, and letting go. It's almost as though we're stacking heavy, heavy duvets on us. Now going a little bit deeper, the skeleton, the bones, the heavy bones of the body, bearing down, giving us that extra weight, grounding from the back of the head right down to the heels of the feet. Now being aware of the back of the body which is in contact with the floor. See if we can picture ourselves as in like a puddle and we're just spreading, occupying more and more space. Have a sense of the stillness in your mind and in the body. Try to capture this moment and hold on to it. It's healing for the body, strengthening, relaxing. keeping the eyes closed. Feel the heaviness in the head and slowly roll the head side to side. So you're just massaging, rolling on the back of the head as you take the head side to side. With a soft jaw. Then rest with the head in the middle where you feel balanced left and right. Float the arms a little away from the floor and roll the arms in. Internally rotate the arms right to the fingers and then externally rotate. So rolling the shoulders, arms, fingers out. In and out. And then circle the wrists and make fists circling in each direction before resting the hands down. Float the right leg off the floor and roll it in and out, and then circle the ankle right to the toes, both directions, and then rest the leg down. Last, left leg floats, internal, external rotations, so that feeling, that movement from the hip to the toes, and then circling the ankle a couple of times in each direction. Draw the knees into the chest, roll the nose up to the knees or the forehead to the knees, and take a moment rolling on the spine, maybe releasing the legs and massaging the base of the spine a couple of times in each direction. To come up, you roll onto one side, and we will meet sitting.